Governor, thank you very much for the introduction. And there's no one I'd rather be working with at the state level than you. You know, when I decided to run for president this last time, I decided that I was tired of the notion of a trickle-down economy. My dad used to have an expression. He said, "Joey, a job is about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, everything's going to be okay." And so that's when I decided I was going to run and build this economy from the bottom up and the middle out. Because when the middle class does well, everybody does well. The wealthy do very well, everyone does well. And, I think that's one of the things that excites me so much about dealing with the CHIPS Act. And look, Gov, we've been partners for a while in all these efforts, and there's no reason why that should slow up now. And I also want to thank AB Ghosh and everyone at Hemlock for being so cooperative and keeping things alive since the '60s. I also want to thank Representative Kildee. I tell you what, as a man who cares a great deal about this issue, along with Senator Peters and Stabenow, the other members of the Michigan delegation, wouldn't happen without them. Every single Democrat and 2 Republicans voted to get the CHIPS and Science Act to my desk. It really matters. I was looking forward to visiting all of you in person, but I'm glad I could still meet you virtually. As we meet to celebrate this bill, I'm reminded of what we did more than a decade ago when we rescued the American auto industry in the wake of the Great Recession. There were those who said we shouldn't. Just let it go bankrupt. Remember that debate? It was a literal debate. Let's just let it go bankrupt. But we all in this room refused to let that happen. And it wasn't just because of an iconic industry. It was because the auto industry is the heart and soul of the nation. It's about the auto industry's legacy. It's about the future. It's about America's future. And one of the reasons why I'm so excited about the CHIPS and Science Bill is that it sees that future for decades to come. Last week, after the bill passed, I saw a headline on the front page of the Detroit Free Press. It says, "Semiconductor vote thrills automakers." Well, I know it sure in hell thrilled me, and it thrilled everybody around this White House, and all of us. You know, the way I see this bill in Michigan is it's about chips and it's about cars. The bill has supercharged our efforts to make semiconductors here in America. And you know, these tiny little computer chips the size of a fingertip that are building the building blocks for a modern economy, they power everything from smartphones to dishwashers, automobiles, and so much more. In fact, the vehicle that the UAW makes in Michigan are used as many as the vehicles use many as 3,000 semiconductors per vehicle. And as electric vehicle sales continue to climb, there were double this year than there were last year. Automakers are going to need even more of these semiconductors. America invented the semiconductor, but over the years, we let manufacturing of these semiconductors get overseas. And as we saw during the pandemic, when the factories overseas that make these chips shut down, the global economy comes to a screeching halt, driving up costs for families and in a big way. You know, a third of the core inflation last year in America was due to the high price of automobiles, which was driven by the shortage of semiconductors. For the sake of our economy and jobs and cost and our national security, we have to make these semiconductors in America once again. And folks, for the folks at home, there's a broader supply chain that makes these semiconductors that connect to countless other small businesses and manufacturers. This bill funds the entire semiconductor supply chain, from research and development to key inputs in polysilicon manufactured at Hemlock. Look, I'm told that 1/3 of all the chips in the world use the polysilicon made right here in your factory. Imagine if we had more of these kinds of factories doing some of the most sophisticated manufacturing in the world, employing thousands of workers, including UA plumbers and pipe fitters, IBW electricians, sheet metal workers, iron workers. This is as analysts say, an investment in the CHIPS and Science Act is going to create more than 1 million construction jobs, over the next 5 years. That's not even counting the jobs making the chips, just building the facilities, building the semiconductor factories. There are 1 million construction jobs, and who knows what that's going to generate. This bill makes sure that as many of those jobs pay Davis-Bacon prevailing wage, which will ensure that tens of thousands of new construction jobs are good paying union jobs here in America. And the bill is not handing out a blank check to companies. This bill has guardrails that are going to protect taxpayers' dollars in the interest of the American workers, small businesses, and the communities they're in. It means companies partnering with community colleges and technical schools that offer training and apprenticeship programs and working with small and minority-owned businesses. My administration is we're going to make sure we take back investments if companies don't live up to their end of the bargain. We're not going to allow companies to use these funds for stock buybacks and issue dividends. And finally, too often entrepreneurs and startups, invent their technologies in America, only to go overseas to commercialize them, the items they invented. This bill makes it clear the world's leading innovation will happen in America. We will both invent in America and make it in America. We're going to make sure we include all of America, including rural and urban communities, right here in the industrial Midwest. Just as a lot of experts were wrong to think that we wouldn't rescue the auto industry more than a decade ago, a lot of experts today believe we wouldn't bring manufacturing jobs back to America and that they were forever gone. But they were wrong. We recovered all the manufacturing jobs we lost during the pandemic. 613,000 of them gained since I took office, more than any other president. Construction and new manufacturing facilities are up more than double this year. And the investments in the Inflation Reduction Act currently in the Senate are going to create even more manufacturing jobs. Jobs building out wind farms and solar panels, making electric vehicles here in Michigan while lowering energy costs and healthcare costs like the cost of prescription drugs. Folks, we have more work to do. But the progress we're making is proof that we're the United States of America. There's nothing beyond our capacity when we work together. And that's what we're doing because of the elected officials on that factory floor. We're working together. And I think the one thing the American people began to lose faith in was our ability to work together to get things done. There's nothing, and I mean this sincerely, there's nothing beyond the capacity of the United States to get done, nothing, when we decide to do it together. And that's what happened this time around. So I'm going to turn this back to Governor Whitmer and thank her again for all her incredible leadership. But I also want to say one more time, what my dad said, a job's a lot more than about a paycheck. It's about your dignity, it's about respect, it's about being able to have a little bit of breathing room. That's what all these jobs are going to do. They're going to put America in a position to be the leader in the world economically for a long time to come. This is part of it. As I said before I began, we had a little chat before we came on the air. I said, we used to invest over 2% of our total GDP in pure research and development. I got down to 0.7%. Other nations picked up that research. But that's not who we are. We're back in the game. There's not a thing we can't do. Remember, we invented these chips. We modernized these chips. We made them work. And there's a lot more we can get done. So please, please, please have faith in our country. Have faith in what we can do. As I said, there's nothing beyond our capacity. Nothing, nothing. Thank you, Governor. I'm going to turn it back to you now.